If you can hit one button, you can beat the 2023 Halloween event. And today, I'll show you how to do it. The Halloween event brings with it a brand new minigame, tons of rewards, and enough teeth to scare a dentist. The new minigame can be a lot to look at when you first open the event. Once you get through the short tutorial, you're left here in the main window. You'll be able to see the current amount of teeth you have, the next grand prizes, and your progress towards them, the current daily special, your league, how many keys you have to unlock reward boxes, and lastly, the card selection. The reward boxes can be opened with either bronze, silver, or gold keys, which you win from the minigame. You need 12 bronze keys per bronze chest, 6 silver keys per silver chest, and 4 gold for the gold chest. The bronze chest is always worth 12 progress, the silver 18, and the gold 24. However, the first chest you open each day will give double its reward and progress. You can also pick up the daily specials from these boxes, so I recommend saving all of your keys until you see a daily special that you want to win. To get more keys, we need to play the minigame. You can do this by choosing a deck of cards. I recommend choosing the one suggested by the minigame itself. So in my case, it says to choose the zombie deck as I'll be facing more werewolves. We'll talk more about the types of cards later. Once you've chosen a deck though, you can then enter the dungeon. Now, we have a whole new interface to talk about. At the top, you'll see how many teeth you have, a button to bring up the cheat sheet, and a button to show you which cards you currently have in your deck. Just below that, you can see how many cards you have remaining in your deck, not including the one currently in play. So I've got 16 cards remaining plus the one card that's drawn. Then we have your health counter, which shows how much health you have remaining of the maximum of 14. If you reach 0 health, you die and your journey through the dungeon is over. The good news is that you can buy more health via this plus button, which costs you some teeth. The enemy also has a health counter and shows which enemy you're currently facing. There are 11 enemies in each dungeon, including the final boss. Below the cards, we'll get to them soon, is the redraw button, which lets you choose between one of 3 cards from your deck to use on the enemy. This costs 5 teeth for the first time, then doubles each time until you choose a card. Underneath the enemy's card is shown what rewards you can win, including a prize and keys. From the 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 9th enemies, you will get ability cards instead of a prize, but we'll talk about those later. As for the cards themselves, there's a lot of info on them. At the top left, it shows which type of card you have. There are werewolves, vampires, zombies, and witches. At the bottom left, you'll see the amount of damage the card will deal, and at the bottom right, its attack bonus against one of the other card types. Zombies have bonuses against werewolves, werewolves against vampires, and vampires against zombies. Witches have no bonuses against the other card types, but the other cards don't have bonuses against the witches. If you ever forget which card has a bonus against which, check the cheat sheet or glance at the card right below the fight button, which shows a sneaky little diagram on who is best against who. To actually progress through the minigame, we have to fight by hitting the aptly named fight button. Doing so will cause your card to attack the enemy, but also for the enemy to attack you. So for this current fight, I would expect to deal 2 to 3 damage against the enemy card, but also expect to take 2 to 3 damage myself. Killing the enemy will still cause you to take damage. This repeats until you kill the enemy, at which point you get rewards and a new enemy. It's pretty simple. After using one of your cards, it is removed from your deck. If you run out of cards, you die, regardless of your health. There are also 6 ability cards. These are Frenzy, Heal, Vile Renewal, Madness, Soul Sever, and Thief. You can get them from the card shop after defeating the 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 9th enemies. And when using one of these cards, you will not take damage from the enemy. Frenzy will cost 1 health point to use, but will cause the enemy to attack itself twice. In most cases, this will instantly kill the enemy. Heal cards do exactly what they say and will heal you. However, they can only refill health up to the max of 14. These are able to heal you between 6 and 10 health, but the better ones are only available in the later card shops. Vile Renewal will both heal you and damage the enemy at the same time. You can be healed between 2 and 6 points and deal between 3 and 7 damage, depending on which variant you pick up. Similar to the health cards, the better versions are available in the later card shops. Madness will have the enemy attack itself with half of its base power. Usually this results in it dealing 2 to 3 damage. Soul Sever will halve the enemy's total health, rounding up. So for an enemy with 4 health, it will deal 2 damage, since half of 4 is 2. But for an enemy with 5 health, it will deal 3 damage, since half of 5 is 2.5, rounded up to 3. Lastly, Thief will allow you to get rewards for defeating an enemy before you defeat the enemy. Note that you will still get the rewards for defeating the enemy as usual. This just lets you get basically those same rewards and the extra time. Now comes the important part. How does all of this fit together? Here's my general strategy for playing through a full dungeon. First, you want to make sure that you choose the recommended deck when you're completing dungeons. This can make a huge difference in how the game is played, especially against harder enemies. For the first 2 enemies, try to use some of the weakest cards in your deck. Refreshing is cheap, only 5 teeth. If you don't see the card you want in the refresh, don't hit the 10 teeth redraw button. Instead, just choose one of the cards, and then the teeth cost for the redrawing is reset to 5. Basically, our goal when defeating enemies early in the dungeon is to pick the card that has the best chance of killing it in one hit, but not choosing a card that will deal too much damage. We want to save those for later for harder enemies. When you reach a card shop, you must choose at least one card. I recommend always choosing Thief if it appears, and I also like to pick up Frenzy. Generally, my ranking for the ability cards is as follows. Thief and Frenzy are must-buy. Vial Renewal and Heal are great, but only from the second card shop onwards. Don't get the ones from the first card shop, as they aren't worth it. However, I usually choose Vial Renewal over Heal, as it will heal you a decent amount and hurt the enemy too. That's a hard combo to beat. Madness and Soul Sever should never be chosen, but if you have no other options, Soul Sever is the better choice. Remember though to only buy at most 2 cards from each shop. If you buy more, you'll be throwing away a lot of teeth. And if possible, don't buy any but the 1 free card. As you start reaching higher enemies, try to refresh for cards that have bonuses against the enemy. If you have no cards with bonuses against the enemy, use Frenzy if you have it, or at worst, cards of the same class as the enemy card. You'll take a lot of damage with this. Speaking of damage, always heal if there's any chance that the enemy can kill you. If you have only 4 health left and the enemy can deal 4 damage, it's time to heal. Make sure you factor in the attack bonuses. Also, always choose the most expensive option for healing. It's most efficient for your teeth. When you finally make it to the boss, redraw to use any thief cards that you've managed to get. Each thief card used on the boss will give you a massive amount of progress. Once out of thief cards, use a frenzy card or your normal cards to take down the boss. Remember, even if you run out of cards or health, but also manage to kill the boss at the same time, it is considered that you won the dungeon and you will get the rewards. Now we can finally ask, what's the best strategy for how to play dungeons? It's pretty simple. All you have to do is play through 21 full dungeons. You can do 3 a day for the first 7 days, or 1 per day over the course of the event. The only caveat is that you must average less than about 700 teeth spent per dungeon, but I was managing way under that threshold on beta. For the remaining 42 free unlocked decks every day, all you've got to do is play through them without spending any teeth whatsoever. You'll only make it through the first few enemies, but the extra keys you'll get will give you the rest of the progress that you'll need. If you also complete the daily challenge each day, this strategy will give you about 4,000 progress, which is enough for the Laboratory of Monsters and the golden upgrade for the Tarot Card Caravans. If you're able to spend fewer teeth per dungeon, you can get much further in the grand prizes, and teeth from incidents will help too. Regardless of strategy, make sure that you're opening the doubled gold progress chest each day, completing the daily challenges, and always choosing the recommended deck when going for a dungeon clear. Also, when I say to play a dungeon without spending any teeth, I mean it. Simply fight until you die and then exit the dungeon. Don't heal, don't redraw if you can avoid it, and don't pay for any extra cards from the card shop. If you want to spend on this event, I would urge you to try and avoid having to refresh decks, as the cost increases rapidly, and if you want more progress every day, complete every dungeon where the recommended deck is unlocked. This event is somewhat similar to the anniversary and soccer events in spending. If you want to spend, you're going to want to spread out your spending of teeth across the entire event. Of course, whether or not you're spending money, you're going to want some good rewards. You will get a reward for each enemy that you defeat in the dungeon, along with some keys. The rewards for each enemy are listed here. Note that the 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 9th enemies will give you the card shop and keys, but not an actual reward for your city. The higher tier the enemy, the better rewards you can win. The most notable of these rewards will be the Stormspire and its upgrades. You can start winning the level 1 past the 6th enemy and get its upgrades throughout the dungeon. It's a 1x1 building that provides attack boosts and 1 forge point. You also get better and better keys for the harder enemies, up to the 3 gold, 2 silver, and 1 bronze keys available from the boss. You'll want to use these keys to open the reward boxes. These boxes are also the way that you'll be getting progress in the grand prizes. The good news is that there's basically no strategy in how to choose which boxes to open, as each key has its own boxes. Other than opening the 2x gold box daily, save up all of your keys for one day with a daily special that you want to win. There are plenty of specials available, from the Sparkborn Stormspire, the Tower of Whispering Horrors, a 2x3 building that provides attack boosts and goods, and Monsterware's Terror Boutiques, a 3x3 building providing defense boosts and forge points. You'll also be able to pick up the Epic Halloween 2023 Selection Kit, which gives a choice between the Tarot Card Caravans, Horror Circus set, House of Horrors, and Abandoned Asylums base buildings and upgrades, along with the Dark Doorway, Black Tower, and Mad Scientist's Lab thrown in for good measure. If you'd rather get all of those upgrades separately, you can win the Tarot Card Caravans, Abandoned Asylum, and Horror Circus selection kits. Other interesting specials include the Daunting Towers from last year's Halloween event, which give you a 50% attack boost for only one day. You can also pick up some level 2 watchtowers, the Donkey Enclosure, Governor's Villa selection kits, Nice Pavilions, Olympic Treasury kits, Epic Historical Questline kits, and Winter's Plaza selection kits. Now, you might be wondering a little bit more about the buildings that you can win in this event, including the main building, the Laboratory of Monsters, as well as the 7 other new buildings. I'm going to turn that over to Mailia, whose video is linked on screen now. Go check it out. Do me a favor and subscribe to her while you're at it. Good luck with the event, and as always, I'll see you all next time.